Salam Mucha and Hosh Omadid. Welcome to this new reading aloud of the Book of Kings. At the other side of the microphone is yours truly, Plumas Khanum, and I am delighted to welcome you here for yet another session of reading the best book ever written in history of literature, like world literature, the Book of Kings. How are you? Che khawar? What are the news for today? Allow me to tweak some things in here, because apparently the bit rate is, doing funny, to put it nicely. And, okay, I think I'll be able to perform the rest of the stream. But if not, I will reboot the whole thing, because that is what we normally do in this channel. I am very excited to be reading with you this chapter, because it's an important one. I'm late to the show, but I made it. You made it. I was wondering, because you were very interested in what the story was to become for our little prince Shāh-nāmeh. If this is your first time here and you have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, hi, salam, my name is Pluma. It's my pleasure greeting you. And here we are reading the Shāh-nāmeh, or Book of Kings. If you want to learn what's happened, what has occurred for these 30-something parts that we've read so far, you can always go to either Spotify, YouTube. All the episodes are there uploaded, so you can catch up with everything, because trust me, it's been a while and things have happened and events have unfolded, to say the least. How are you, Umberto? It's nice to see you here. And I have my trusty cup of mana, although I'll have to say this what I'm drinking today is not nice. I'm still gonna drink it, but it's not a nice mixture. I don't know what's wrong with it, because it was promising apple, cinnamon, clove. It was promising. It was inspiring, very Christmassy, but it's just artificial cinnamon flavor. I mean, the flavor of the cinnamon overpowers everything else, and it's just liquid. It's a mixture between liquid brown sugar and liquid cinnamon. And don't get me wrong, I love cinnamon, but it's not exactly what I was going for. I wanted to taste a little bit more of the spices. Out of mana. Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, out of the nice mana, that is. You're doing well. I hope the mana recharges you appropriately. So do I, because it's been a tiring day at work, but really nice. I'm very grateful for being able to do the job that I do. And how's everyone else? Salam Pichu. Oh, Captain, my captain. How are you? It's always a pleasure having you here. And I'm going to start not this one. I'm going to start the music for Ancient Wind. I'm going to tone it down to a little bit, because last time when I was uploading this to all the platforms and I was editing the audio, I realized it was a little bit loud, and that is not exactly what I wish to accomplish with adding music to these readings. But I think I will get the notch of it. Yeah, I will get the proper ratio of music to silence. And okay, but Shah, do I want to begin? No, I don't, but I have to. We are still in the midst of the story, our little prince Shāh-nāmeh, who, let's say it from the beginning so it's clear, it's a pan de Dios. What is a pan de Dios if you're not Spanish speaker? A pan de Dios is a loaf of God, a bread from God, meaning the most pure soul, the purest heart, the purest soul ever existed, the best person that you will encounter in your earthly time, and the best character within the whole book. Do I have to say this every time we are to read about Shāh-nāmeh? Absolutely. I mean, I'm offended that some of you may still have that question, yet I'm going to repeat it every single time. And we are joining him along the way of his adventures in Turan, living in the court of Avrazia, which, allow me to tell you, that is quite something, because he is living in the court of what was supposed to be his mortal enemy. But they signed a peace treaties, and apparently Kaika was refused it. Fun. And salam, vizier. You are traveling in the vizier car, so Cheers to you. As always, drive safely. I am very, very happy to be accompanying you home today. Taking a sip for you. And yeah, I mean, we can start. Where do we leave? Oh yeah, so the last time we read, what we learned about Siavas's situation in the court of Afrasiab was that he became slowly but steadily the king's favorite company. And that favoritism started to change and transform into, I wouldn't say an obsession, but a very strong, not completely biased and whatsoever hidden preference. Yeah, that's a polite way of putting it. Yeah, preference. Meaning that the king didn't want to be with anyone else. He only desired Siavash's company, and please do not get me wrong in here. I mean, he was very happy to have the kid around, but do not go down those lanes. You're nasty. No, that is when I think the Shāh-nāmeh is implying something, I might tell you. But in this case, no, it's just the king of Turan really enjoys Siavash's company. Because, let's be realistic, who wouldn't? Siavash is a delight in every shape, form, time, or event. And he enjoys a kid's company, yet the thing is, this preference goes a little bit further and beyond, because it's not that he wishes to be accompanied by Siavash, it's that he refuses to be with anyone else. That's the thing, that he is not wanting the company of his scholars, of his astronomers, of his own sons and daughters, and that is a little bit odd, and it's starting to get under the skin of the Turanians. Yet a year went by of Siavash leaving, not leaving, as in like living in the court of Afrasiab. And one day, Siavash, and I start reading now, Siavash and Piran were sitting, chatting of this and that, when Piran said, oh, that was a very British way of pronouncing Piran. Piran. Oh, I like it. When Piran said, "You are like a man who's only passing through this country. What will remain of Afrasiab's kindness to you when you die? You are now the close companion of our king, as loved by him as pleasure is in spring, and you are Kaikavos' son. Your glory here has raised you to the moon's auspicious sphere." Pause in that. Remember that when they talk about the spheres, they're referring to the ancient Ptolemaic thought that the sky is divided in 7 levels. And in fact, I have a note here because I always forget the order of the spheres, but not anymore since I noted them here. Where do I have them? I swear I have them here because I'm working on something else and I wanted to make that note. Okay, so this is the order of the 7 spheres. In ascending order. I'm starting from the moon, who is who. I mean, I think of the moon as a person, not as a personality, and I think that has to do with my Spanish upbringing, because to us the moon is someone, it's not something. We can discuss that whenever you wish. So yeah, the closest sphere to Earth is the moon, followed by Mercury, Venus, the Sun, Mars, Jupiter, and then finally Saturn. There's an 8th sphere above that, which is the sphere of the fixed stars, the constellations, because at that time they thought the constellations did not move. They were just, established there, hand painted by God. And that was it. So that were the 7/8 spheres of the skies, of the heavens. So your glory here, continues Piran, has raised you to the moon's auspicious sphere, meaning that he has gained a reputation for himself, and he's dear to many people now. And this is where, meaning Turan, this is where you ought to lead your life. But you have no brother here, no kin, no wife. You're like a solitary flower beside an empty field. You need to choose a bride. Forget Iran, its sorrows and its wars. When once Kaikavos has died, Iran will be yours. Here, in the royal castles, there's women quarters, and the king has 3 incomparable daughters. Salam Arash, Khubi! It's good to see you. How are you? I am very good, thank you. Enjoying a cuppa while reading the Book of Kings. Perfect afternoon, if you might ask me. Still piping hot. Oh yeah, Piran says the king has 3 incomparable daughters, and Garziba's household boasts of 3 descended from a noble ancestry. And I myself, Piran, have 4 girls, each of whom will be your slave if you will be her groom. But best would be, advises Piran, if you can marry one of Avraziab's girls, you will be then his son, automatically. The finest of them is Farigiz, whose grace knows no competitor in any place. She is tall and slender as a cypress tree. Her hair is a musky crown. You'll never see a woman more accomplished and more wise. If you should wish to gain this noble prize, I'll be your messenger and go between to ask the king, if she can be your queen. Okay, a little digression before jumping into the reaction of Siavash. I have to say something positive about the depiction of women in general in the Shāh-nāmeh, because the same way they praise a beautiful face and beautiful mane and everything. Sorry for the off topic, but sometimes this looks like a Crusader Kings report. Does it? I mean, I've never played Crusader Kings, so I don't know how it would be similar, but I would love to hear how, the reading aloud sessions are, close to that. Please, Pichu, tell me all about it. What I was saying is that I like the way of depicting women, because for sure they focus on the physical appearance of the female protagonist in here. Absolutely. I am not one to deny that. After all, this is a book written in the 11th century, therefore is transporting the morals and values from the 11th century. But that tells you that when choosing a queen, it's not just enough that she is good looking, that she is delightful to the sight. No, there needs to be something beyond those looks. That beauty ought to be accompanied to this lecture. That beauty ought to be accompanied by a brain and wisdom, and here they say that Farigiz is accomplished. Again, they refer to the woman as a prize, yet I know I'm not asking you to accept it, nor to like it. I'm just asking you to understand that we cannot separate the context from the book. And for me, given that they want women that are pretty but also smart, it's a nice thing. It's something that I enjoy I enjoy seeing. So basically, this is like a shower, like a very cold shower to Siavash, because he has been reminded once more, because apparently Turan loves doing that. There's a strategy for Turanians reminding Siavash how alone he is. We can delve into that if you're interested. So Siavash has been reminded yet once again that he is completely alone in this country, and that Kaikavuz is about to die, so he would inherit the kingdom of Iran, and that he needs to forget his past and start building up something here in Turan. And that implies, automatically, given the age of Siavash, that implies getting married. Thus, let's get you a girlfriend. And if I can be completely honest, I imagine Siavash listening to Piran, eyes wide open, flustered, and sweaty palms, a tad nervous. Are we shaking? Oh no. Siavash gazed at Piran and said, "What God wills cannot stay unfulfilled. If this is heaven's course, then I cannot oppose it. If I'm not to reach Iran again, or see Kaikavuz's face again, or that of the great Rostam who brought me up, or Bahram's, or Sanges, or the faces of our warriors, then I must choose a home here in Turan. Be as a father to me and arrange these marriage, but please keep it secret for now." Okay, I have something to say about Siavash. A bad thing, that is. He's a people pleaser. A clinically diagnosed people pleaser. He just says whatever it's suitable to be said, what everyone is expecting him to say. And that's not good. If you are to learn anything from Siavash, please may not be this, because he's just saying what he knows he has to say. But, having said this, he sighed repeatedly and his eyelashes glistened with tears. Why is Siavash crying? What is it? Well, can we put ourselves in these boys, because he's a boy, tops he would be in his 20s or something. Can we put ourselves in these boys' shoes for a moment? He's away from home, away from all his friends, away from the person that's the most dear in the world to him, that is Rostam, who raised him. I mean, his real father, I will fight people for this. The real father of Siavash is Rostam. Kai Kavuz, contributed with the seed, but that's it. That is where it ends. Kai Kavuz is a terrible father, and it has been Rostam, the one who's raised this kid and made him become what he is. That's for starters. Then he is constantly reminded how alone he is and that he cannot go back to his house. And he has to start up a new life in here and get married. And that is not something you do lightly, but it's just like, oh my God, too much. And he's overwhelmed because he's human. Oh my God, I love this book so much. And I love that the book finds the space to tell us the emotional development from not all the characters. I need to be, fair. Not all the characters have this display of emotions and feelings and reactions, but Siavash does. And I want you to stay with that one. Piran, seeing the reaction of the child, says, "A wise man does not fight with fate. If you once had friends in Iran, you've entrusted them to God and left them behind. Your home is here now." I mean, I understand that Piran means good, but could you please stop telling the kid that he needs to forget about his past? Why is that? Okay, I feel like I need to comment on this. Why is it that everyone around Siavash is like, oh, you can't go back. Oh, your friends. Nah, forget about those. Don't worry. You can make new friends in here. Why is this? Okay, because they want to keep Siavash around. They want Siavash to establish and to make Turan his permanent residence. And they need, in order to get that, they need to remind him that they are welcoming him with open arms. He is one of them now, not anymore like Iran expelled him, made him, like forced him into exile. Salam Dorud Saharab Khubi. And these intensity on the Turanian side has a reasoning and there's a strategy. So again, I'm not asking you to like it, I'm asking you to understand it. Let us continue. Piran bustled off to the court and waited for a while near the throne until Afrasiab said, he's just standing there, and Afrasiab is seeing him from the corner of his eye, just standing, smiling. I imagine Piran, waving from time to time. And then finally, the king addresses his counselor and asks, "Why are you standing there? What's on your mind? My army and wealth are at your disposal, and if some prisoner, whose release will be dangerous for me, if I have some prisoner whose release will be dangerous for me, I will set him free if you should ask. Now, what is it? What do you want from me?" Is that paragraph really necessary? Meaning like my life, my wealth, my army is yours? Not quite, because basically Afrasiab is asking, what do you want? He's been standing there for hours. But it's a way of the poem reminding us that the king Afrasiab will entrust everything he owns to this person, to Piran, who is his old advisor. The wise counselor answered, "May you live forever. I have all the wealth and power I need. I bring a secret message from Siavash. He says to you, I am grateful for the fatherly welcome you have given me here. Now I need you to arrange a marriage for me. You have a daughter called Farigis, and I should be honored if I were considered worthy of her." Afrasiab Afrasiab grew pensive and replied, I have gone through this before, and you, Piran, did not agree with me. A man who nourishes a lion cub will regret it once the lion's grown, and astrologers have predicted that the union of these two will produce a prince who will conquer the world and destroy Turan. The first crown he will seize will be mine. Why should I plant a tree whose bitter root would only serve to nourish poisoned fruit? I love that expression. They overuse it in the Shāh-nāmeh, but it gets me every time. A child from Kaikavus's lineage, that is, and Afrasiab's lineage, will mingle fire and flood. How can I know whether he will look kindly on Turan? And if he favors Iran, then it will be as if I purposely taken poison. A man does not deliberately pick a snake up by the tail. The more you know, Bachad, do not pick a snake by the tail. As long as he is here, I will treat him like a brother. But that's so. Okay. The juicy stuff. We're getting to the tea of this live stream. Why am I so excited? I shouldn't be. Anyway, I don't know if you remember this. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But the reason why Afrasiab wanted to sign a peace treaties with Sayyavash was because he had these this ominous dream, these foresight of the future. And in this omen, the dream revealed to him that it didn't matter what, he would do. If he chose to maintain the fight against Iran, Sayyavash personally would kill him. But if he allowed Sayyavash to live long enough so he would have his own children, one of them will, as he just said, destroy Turan, conquer Turan, and eliminate Afrasiab. So it was one of these situations, fate-wise, in which Afrasiab was doomed no matter what he chose. If he chose to go to war, death. If he chose to keep, stop the war and allow Sayyavash to live his life, death. Not by him, but by the kid. That kid that hasn't even been born yet. And what Afrasiab attempted with welcoming Sayyavash into Turan was to, first of all, keeping an eye, like a very close eye on him, make sure that he did not have a wife or like an affair in which he could produce a king, an heir. And that's the reason why he doesn't want Sayyavash to marry anyone, because as he says perfectly, it will be as if I purposely take poison to myself. And okay, Pichu, you were telling me how the Shāh-nāmeh looks like a Crusader Kings report. It says marrying an heir to another strong family is important. In that way, it looks like you'd marry a princess and kill his brother and you are a king. We need a Shāh-nāmeh mod for Crusader Kings 3. Yes, we do. I mean, Paradox is not working the Sasanian stuff. I know I owe you the live stream. I will make it happen. But yes, I agree, Umberto. It will be fantastic. It will be the only mode I will play. Okay, Pichu has a question. I always think, what's the point of knowing the future if you can't change it? And why they try to change it, making it worse? You see, that, my friend, is just human nature at its finest. Of course, if we, that's okay, don't worry. I understood what you mean. If we know the future, we are more or less more tranquil because we cannot bear with the thought that we don't know what's going to happen in the future. That is something. I mean, we would all wish to know. Not me personally, but people wish us to know the future in order to prepare for it. Then you learn the future, you're not happy with the future, and you attempt to change it. Yet it's been written in the future, so that you enter this paradox that you cannot escape. But it's just the base of every mythology, epic, poetic narrative. It is how it is. And the thing about you can change it depends. I don't know about all the context, but in this book, given that fate is not just fate, fate is the will of God. And that is immutable. It's just the fate of the world. And you've heard these people accept it so many times, and they themselves had said, well, express clearly and loudly, I cannot change what the heavens have prepared for me, because they accept that fate is the will of God. Yet I am giving them the benefit of the doubt. I mean, I am lining up with them in the sense that when that future implies death, especially to yourself, you would be inclined to at least attempt to change it. I can understand why Afrasiab is doing everything that he's doing. I mean, I do. Yet, if it reaches the point, Afrasiab would just accept that God, destiny, the heavens, the stars, created that way for him. It is the paradox of human beings. Absolutely, yeah. What do you say, Uloko, that Crusader Kings 2 has actually a formable Turan title? Is it? I need to check that one. So Umberto is saying that he will make a specific Crusader Kings 3 Shāh-nāmeh family tree. We will see if I can make a full mod. Oh, I would love to play that with you. So destroying Turan is a doable thing in theory, says Uloko. Yeah, in theory. Man. And then Uloko continues, honestly, sometimes I wonder why these people are so downcast about bad dreams when you could always try sleeping more until you get a better dream. Can you imagine it was that simple? Like, if it worked like that, if you don't want this, the last dream you had, just fall asleep again, have another dream. Only the last one is the one that remains, right? Is that how it works? Is that how ominous dreams work? That the only one valid is the last one you had? You are supposed to dream more in during siesta time, nap time. So if I were Afrasiab, I wouldn't ask for my future, says Pichu, or trust a servant to listen to it as a filter. I think you would all make fantastic Iranian kings. Slothinator, Uloko, and Pichu. I can see that happening. Okay, so as back to the book, Afrasiab does not want Servat to marry, because he doesn't want to risk the opportunity of creating the situation for an heir to come up. Yet Piran said, any child of Servat will be a wise and good-natured human being. Pay no attention to what astrologer says. Arrange matters for Servat. A prince of our two peoples will be lord on both Iran and Turan. The dream, butcher. And both countries will be at peace after long warfare. There can be no more splendid lineage than that of Fereydun and Kaikobad, because yes, Servat is a descendant of our beloved dragon king Fereydun. Why do I keep referring to Fereydun as a dragon king? That is something someone asked me once. It's because he had the capability of turning into a dragon. He could turn himself into a bloody dragon, I'm telling you. To top that? I'm not saying to surpass that, but to top that? Can you imagine what you actually need to do to at least put yourself at the same level of Fereydun? For me, I'm saying, this is completely biased. You don't have an idea. You don't have an idea. I mean, not even Zahog, for me, is at the level of Fereydun. And I love Zahog, you know I do. But, Here comes the question, but Plumas, isn't Simur your favorite card? Yes, she is. Yes, she is. She plays in a completely different league. Separate. It will be unfair to compare anyone to Simur. Was that Woloko? I feel like people in these stories tend to make themselves miserable. I mean, of course, this is Iranian poetry. The drama. The drama is the spine of everything. Like, the pivotal thing in poetry is the drama. Yes. Uloko says, if you sleep 100 times and then get 99 good dreams and one bad one day, we'll always take the single bad one as prophecy and forget the others. yes, of all languages in this world, you chose the language of the truth. But isn't that how we are? You know? Isn't that how we all are? Humans? People, like in social media, they say that all the time. Like, oh, I have like a 99 nice comments, but one awful comment ruins my day, blah, blah, blah. This is how we are. This is so human. So human. Peter says that he feels divided with Feridun. He can't become a dragon, but he uses to traumatize his nameless sons. Does he, though? He doesn't traumatize them. It doesn't appear to me that they are traumatized. They are just given the princely names when they're adults. And that is the thing, that the kids did not have an official name up until they were grown. Doesn't mean that they didn't have a name someone were calling them by. This is the, how to say, the official name of the kids. But for sure, their moms and their friends called them somehow. Uluku points out that if the ancient Iranians knew some statistics, maybe this story would be over in a few chapters. Absolutely, I am with you. But then, it wouldn't be an Iranian poetry piece, would it? Okay, so Piran is trying to convince Afrasiab that he needs to allow Siavash to marry because, you know, having an heir combining the both most powerful blood lineages of all history in this world, which are the descent, like the blood from Feridun and the blood from Kaikobad, that would be incredible for Iran and Turan. And the king, after listening to him, he says, I hope your advice turns out well. I accept your suggestion. See that the matter is carried out appropriately. Piran then bowed, left the court, and hurried to Siavash. He went over what the king had said, and that night the two washed all sorrows from their hearts with wine. Of course, why not? Because you ruin your miseries in alcohol since the beginning of time. Udoka continues, like how most love dramas would end in 15 minutes if the characters could actually be mature enough to gather everyone in a room and discuss their feelings frankly. And how many animes and rom-com series and films and comics and books would end up in like one chapter if communication was a thing? You know what? I'm gonna digress for a moment. That is among my biggest pet peeves in media. Miscommunication. Like, I took a course of narrative and the teacher said to us that if the conflict could be solved by having a conversation was not like a real conflict at all. Sure, you can have little fights and little disagreements, but if you want to make the whole plot of this story, it needs to be something that cannot be fixed with a conversation. Because if then your characters choose willingly to not give your characters this space to converse, then it's poor storytelling. And I live by those words, and I see that so many times. Like, besides romance, it's just like narrative stuff. How many plots could be solved if just 2, 3, 4 X people would sit and talk? I'm just leaving that there. Okay, I'm continuing the reading. When the sun raised its golden shield into the sky, Piran said to Siavash, bestir yourself, my lord. You are to be the princess's guest, and I am ready to do whatever you order me to in this affair. Siavash was uneasy in his heart and shamefacedly said to Piran, well, do whatever you think it's appropriate. You know, I have nothing to hide from you. Oh my god, I love him so much. Piran bustled off to his house and had his wife Gulshar choose a splendid wedding gift. Uncut cloth, gold woven Chinese brocade, trays of emeralds, beakers of turquoise filled with musk and sweet-smelling wood, 2 princely crowns, 2 torques, a necklace, 2 earrings, 60 camel loads of carpets, 3 sets of clothes with designs worked in red, gold, and jewels, 30 camel loads of silver and gold, a golden throne and 4 chairs of state, 3 pairs of slippers worked in emeralds, 300 slaves with gold caps, 100 more bearing gold beakers. And I'm going to pause myself here because if the Shāh-nāmeh has something that looks equally as drama, is listing gifts. Like, main thing in the Shāh-nāmeh is crying and making presents list. Was that loco? I actually know one mystery manga where the author introduced a character that was logical and intelligent, and this caused so many problems for the story that he had to kill her off before she found out the killer in a few chapters. What? Oh my god! Don't do that to your characters. That is harsh, isn't it? Okay, so all these gifts together with 10,000 dinars was taken to Farigiz by Gulshahar and her sisters. She kissed the ground before the princess and said, "The sun is to be joined with the planet Venus. Tonight you must go to the prince and shine in his palace like the full moon." How beautiful is this? We were talking about the spheres before. So, of course, in this situation, Farigiz is planet Venus because of femininity and beauty, but Siavash is compared with the sun itself. Because he shines, Bachar, both figuratively and literally, because the far around him shines. My god, I love him so much. And so, Farigiz, resplendent as the full moon, came to the young prince. Their festivities lasted a week. Claro que sí. No one, not even the birds of the air or the fish in the sea, slept during that time. From end to end, the earth was like a garden filled with happiness and music making. Afrasiab loaded his son-in-law with gifts and gave him a charter written on silk. We talked about this, about how, yes, the Harana during 1 week. Absolutely, yes. We talked about this and how they would write the official statements on silk as a way of making them permanent and also valuable, because silk is difficult to purchase and to get. Yeah, and in this charter, Afrasiab was making Siavash lord of the lands that stretched to the Sea of China. And in confirmation of his sovereignty, he sent a golden throne and a crown to Siavash's palace. So now he's given him land, a territory for him to rule upon. Yay, congratulations, Siavash, now you are a landlord, literally. A year went by, because yeah, we are doing time skips in this narrative arc. A year went by, and then one day a messenger from Afrasiab arrived at Siavash's palace. Oh boy, oh boy. The king said, "It would be right for you to separate yourself from me somewhat. I've given you the land that stretches toward China. Make a tour of your territories and choose some city that delights your heart. Make that your happy home, and never swerve from righteousness." Siavash was pleased at this advice. He had fifes and catadrums sounded, the baggage train fitted out, and litters prepared for Farigiz and the women of her entourage. So he's moving away. He's moving away from the court, because the poem doesn't say this, but allow me to walk you through this. I'm pretty sure you know why Afrasiab is doing this, because now he's married, now he has a wife, so kids, God willing, will arrive soon. So he trusts Piran's judgment and he chose to follow his advice. Yet, the astrologer's prediction lingers there in the back of the brain of Afrasiab. So he possibly is thinking, you know what? You can be, as in exist, but could you do so a tad away from me? Can you go a wee further? Yet a wee further? a wee bit further if you... Thank you. You now are reaching the border of the Chinese Sea. Congratulations. Stay there, please. Don't come back. Because he's scared. I mean, who wouldn't? In all honesty, who wouldn't? Yeah, it sounded spectacular in his mind. As Sayavash led out his army, Piran accompanied him with his own troops, and the two made their way toward Piran's homeland, Khotan, which is a place. Dear Umberto, how come we never talked about Khotan, the kingdom of Khotan, you and I, and of course anyone that wishes to join? So the kingdom of Khotan was an ancient Buddhist/Saka kingdom, a Scythian one, located in the Silk Road, and it's beautiful. It's wonderful to learn about the story and everything that occurred there, and I just wanted, you know, I just wanted you to know that Khotan exists. Where? So it's north of Tibet, you know Tibet. So to the north of Tibet was Khotan, but also it was close by with the Uyghurs, some Khanate of it's Central Asia basically, and is half of the kingdom of Khotan stretched towards the Taklamakan desert. So beautiful place to know about, because yeah, Scythians, don't we love them? Yes, we do. So there in Khotan, the prince stayed as Piran's guest for a month, feasting and hunting. This is something like they do to amuse themselves. They feast, they eat, they listen to music. All your like average Iranian pastimes. When the month was over, the din of drums rang out at cockcrow, and with the army led by Piran, Sayavash entered the appanage he had been granted by Avrasyab. When it was known that they had arrived, the local chieftains gave them a splendid welcome, filling the land with the sounds of harps, lutes, and flutes. They reached a fertile and well-watered place, possessed of every strength and natural grace. The setting's natural limit was the sea. A highway marked the inland boundary. To one side, mountains reared above the plain, a place of hunting grounds, a wild terrain. The streams, the groves of trees made weary men feel that their ancient hearts were young again. Sayavash said to Piran, I like it here. I shall build here in this happy place. I will raise a splendid city, filled with palaces and porticos. My capital will be worthy of the crown and throne and will soar as high as the moon sphere. Careful, Sayavash. The last time someone in your family attempted to reach the sphere of the moon, it ended dramatically. And yes, I mean Kai Kavus's kabusada, because I still don't have an English word to refer to Kai Kavus's stupidities. I don't think if I use that word in here, but basically, when Kai Kavus does something stupid, in Spanish, when we do read this in Spanish, we nickname that situation a cabusada. And I don't have an English alternative, so I'm just going to keep using cabusada. Yeah, it works. If someone has any suggestion, please drop them in the chat, but I like cabusada a lot. Oh, right. Cabus fail. Still cabusada sounds better. We can keep trying though. I mean, I'm pretty sure you will come up with something creative, but I like cabusada. Piran replied, My lord, do as you see fit. I will contribute everything necessary. Knowing you, I have no more need for wealth or land. So Piran really grew fond of this kid. Sayavash replied, All my treasure and goods are from you. I see you striving everywhere on my behalf. I will build a city here such that everyone who sees it will be amazed. So you see, Sayavash is in high spirits. He's looking at the future with a smile, accepting his new situation, happy, content, still processing everything he has to process, but he's, he wants to give the place a chance. But the astrologers, of course, had to be there, damn it. The astrologers reported that the site was inauspicious. And when Shāh-nāmeh heard this, the reins slackened in his hands and tears fell from his eyes. Piran was startled to see the prince cry. He couldn't understand why he was so upset. So he asked, "My prince, why should this grieve you so much?" It's like, it was a bad prediction, but we can find somewhere else to go. I'm pretty sure there's alternatives. But Shāh-nāmeh said, "As the heavens roll, they cast my spirit down and sear my soul. The wealth with which my treasury is filled, the goods I've sought, the palaces I built, will pass into my enemy's fell hand. Before long, death will take me from this land, and why should I rejoice when I foresee that others will sit here in place of me? I'm not long for this world, and soon, God knows, I'd need no palaces, no porticos. My throne will then be Afrasiab's, and he, though innocent, connives to murder me. And so the ever-turning skies bestow now joy, now sorrow, on the world below." Okay. Sound the alarm. Shāh-nāmeh has started to mention the inevitability of fate and how our existence on earth is but time limited. It's not permanent. It is futile. Oh no. Because we know that drama is just lurking around the corner when a character from the Shāh-nāmeh acknowledges their mortal existence. Isn't this fun? And plus, he has predicted this emotion, this astrologer's message, allowed him to foresee that in not so long, he's going to unalive, He's going to cease to exist. He just feels it. He knows that. Piran said, "My lord, why do you bewilder your soul in this way? Afrasiab has cleansed all evil from his heart and renounced all thoughts of vengeance. And while the soul stays in my body, I will stay faithful to you. I won't let anything to happen. I won't let even the wind so much as disturb your hair." No, Piran means well. And I'm going to stop there. Okay, Shāh-nāmeh continues. "Your reputation is unsullied, and I see only goodness come from you. You know all my secrets. I bring you tidings from God himself, for am I privy to the secrets of the turning heavens." Oh my god, he's continuing. Oh my god. We've entered that state. Again, sound the alarms and get the pañuelos, because drama. Ay, Jesus. Okay, so I'm going to try to read everything, in one sit, and then we can discuss if you want to. Or maybe you want to, and just would like me to continue, or to shut up forever and stop here, because if I stop here, then nothing happens, right? Okay. Shāh-nāmeh says, "I will tell you what must be, so that later, when you see how the world's turned you, you will not wondering about my fate. Listen then. Not many days will pass before I shall be slain, although I am innocent of sin. Another will inherit my throne and palace. You are true to your word, but the heavens will otherwise. Slander and an evil fortune will bring evil on my innocent body. Iran and Turan will rise against one another, and life will be overwhelmed by vengeance. From end to end, our lands will suffer. Swords will usurp the time. Innumerable red, yellow, black, and purple banners will throng the skies of Iran and Turan. Endless the pillage and slaughter, the theft of accumulated treasure. Countless the countries whose streams will turn brackish, their soil trampled beneath the war horses' hoofs. Then the Lord of Turan will regret what he has said and done. But when smoke rises from his pillaged cities, regret will be useless. My spilled blood will set Iran and Turan to wailing, and all the world will be in turmoil. Thus he who holds the world has written, and it is by his command that what has been sown is reaped. Come, let us rejoice and feast while we may. The world passes. Why tie your heart to it, since neither our efforts nor the wealth we delight in will remain? Oh boy, oh madre mia. So, that is a heavy statement, isn't it? That is, oh my god. Listen, I've read this book multiple times, and yet, every time I enter this narrative arc, it's just, I have this feeling of, you know, this uneasy sentiment within, as if a hand was grabbing my heart and from time to time just pressing against it violently, and then it stops. But I am aware that the pain will come back, so I am in this state of alert. That's how much this book gets me. Okay, so summary. What happened? Sayavash has predicted his own death. I'm sorry. Allow me to rephrase that. Sayavash has predicted his own murder that will bring Iran and Turan to war again, and everything will be chaos and destruction, basically. And he's now so convinced of that he's entered this state of, nihilism, as if, I don't care anymore, we're all gonna die, let us feast and, dance and hunt and be happy, I don't care what you do, since we're all gonna die in the end. And that's just not good. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but that's not good. Let's just leave it there. It's not good. Hearing him, Piran's heart was stricken with grief. Oh, is it, Piran? Is it, though? And to himself, this is his thought. He was thinking, he said, if what he says is true, I am the cause of this evil. It was I who expended so much effort to bring him to Turan. I, then, who sowed the seeds of this war of vengeance. I took the king's words as so much wind when he said as much to me, because yes, indeed, Piran, the king had warned you. The king told you so. He tried to convince you, but no, you had to be more insistent, because you were convinced that Sayavash's heir, should he have one, was going to be as well-intentioned and loving and warm-hearted as him. That was a long shot, just, but Piran consoled himself, thinking, who knows truly the secrets of heavens? He remembers Iran, Kaikavuz, and the days of his greatness, And this is, it is that. What's disturbing, Siavash? Yeah, sure, Azizam. Piran, my Azizam. Keep saying that to yourself, and perhaps by the 10th time you will believe that. Can you believe this guy? It's just like, he is refusing, neglecting Siavash's words, thinking, yeah, you know what, he's just sad. He's melancholic, and he misses his home. Don't worry, pal. Things, these two shall pass. Oh my god, I can't even. Oh my god, Piran is not. Okay, so Delulu is the word we use. Piran, denial is a river in Egypt. Oh my god, he keeps on saying that to himself, but he is convinced. I mean, if I can be honest, I know that deep down in his heart he is not convinced at all, but he's not going to show. So he pretends he's convinced of his own thought process. Okay, we'll allow him to be. That's fine. As they rode forward, all their talk was of the mysteries of fate, but when they dismounted, they put the subject aside and called for wine and musicians. For a week they feasted, telling tales of the ancient kings, and on the 8th day, a letter came from Afrasiab, ordering Piran to lead his troops on a tour of inspection, collected tribute as he went. First, he was to travel to the Sea of China, then to the border with India, and then the Indian Ocean, and from there to Khazar in Turkestan. Turkestan is Turan, basically. The shout to assemble went up from the doorway of Piran's tent to the din of drums and troops. Troops amassed to receive their orders, and then the column set out on the itinerary the king had commanded. And Afrasiab is left alone. Mazidam. One night, at about the time men slept, a messenger from Afrasiab came hurrying to Siavash. The letter he bore was filled with kindness, and it says, "Since you left, I am never happy. I have identified a place here in Turan where you could live. However cheerfully and splendidly you pass the time where you are, return to my kingdom and confound those who are envious of your good fortune." Do you remember what I said at the beginning of the session, that Afrasiab was a tad obsessed with Siavash's company? So this sentiment is so strong that not even the king can overcome the necessity of being around Siavash. He is in pain. To put it in short, he is suffering because he sent Siavash away. So now he had his courtiers search up and down for a place for Siavash to live. And he found that. You see, it was not that difficult, Afrasiab, so was it? Siavash gathered his troops and set off to the appointed place, as the king had commanded him, because again, if we know something about Siavash, is that he is a clinically diagnosed people pleaser. I can't relate though, to a certain limit. With him came 100 camel loads of dirhams, 40 of dinars, and 1,000 red-haired Bactrian camels made of the baggage train. By the way, if you've never seen a Bactrian camel, you must. They are adorable. They are fluffy, chubby, sturdy, pillowy. I don't know. They're like Highland cows, but in a camel shape. They're gorgeous. I encourage you to Google Bactrian camel, because oh my god, I love them. They're so beautiful. Honestly, they're so pretty. And what was I saying? Oh yeah, 10,000 swordsmen guarded the litters carrying the women of his court, and their 30 camel loads of precious goods. Rubies, turquoise, crowns, earrings, sweet-smelling woods, musk, ambergris, brocade and silk, as well as goods from Egypt, China and Iran. Because God forbid an Iranian prince pack light. He came to the chosen place named Shāh-nāmeh Bahar. Now, isn't this one of the most beautiful names you've ever heard? Shāh-nāmeh Bahar, the joy of spring. I love it. It sounds powerful, beautiful, enchanting. It is evocative. It's just, I love it so much. And there, constructed a city of palaces, porticos, public squares, orchards and gardens. The place was like a paradise, and in the desert waste he made roses, hyacinths and tulips grow. On his palace walls he had frescoes painted showing royal battles and banquets. Allow me to tell you, this is based on real places, because if you know the palaces in Central Asia, the most famous one is Panzikert, you know that the walls are covered in frescoes. Some of them we still keep and maintain, and they are beautiful. They are so wonderful to look at. There was a wide tradition of painting the walls, in like fresco walls in Iran, and not only through the 11th century, or like ancient times, quote unquote, 7th to 2nd century common era, that is Parthian Sasanian time. No, I mean even further, even after the arrival of the Arabs, after the arrival of the Mongols, we can see in manuscripts that palaces have these walls painted, and they are not, it's not paper for the walls. Sometimes you can find wallpaper, not in this case. And you can see scenes of hunting and warriors and fantastic beasts. Simurgh features notably in these fresco painted walls in manuscripts. So this is something that was known and enjoyed. On one wall was King Kavuz with his crown, torque and royal mace. Rostam stood next to his throne. And with him were Zal, Gudarz, and the rest of Kai Kavuz's entourage. On the opposite wall, Afrasiab was painted, together with his warriors and the chieftains Piran and Garzi was. You are diplomatic, Siavash. We love you. Again, people pleaser, but we love you. Pan de Dios. At each corner of the city was a dome that reached to the clouds, and there, their heads among the stars, musicians would sit and sing. The city was called Siavash Gerd, and the world rejoiced in its existence. On his return journey from India and China, Piran came to visit Siavash. He was curious to see what the prince had done with the site and hurried forward, together with a crowd of well-wishers worthy of the honor. The prince and his troops came out to greet him. You know how this traditionally was made, and it's just something done and beautiful out of respect for the person that comes to visit you. The prince and his troops came out to greet him, singing him in the distance. Piran dismounted, as did Siavash, and the two embraced. They walked together through the city, where so recently there had been only a wilderness of thorns, and Piran praised Siavash and the magnificent buildings and orchards he saw laid out on every side. He said, "If you were not endowed with knowledge and the royal fur, how could you ever have founded such a place? May it last as your memorial until the end of the world. And may you and your descendants live here as victorious kings until then." Oh, Piran means well. And I'm going to stop there. When he had seen a portion of the city, he reached Siavash's palace and turned toward Farigiz's quarters. The princess scattered coins before him in welcome, asked him about the hardships of the journey, and seated him on a throne, while her servant stood in waiting for his orders. He praised all he saw. And then they turned to feasting, wine, and music. They spent a week in this way, at times light-hearted and cheerful, and at times quite drunk. The poem words, not mine. On the 8th day, Pirañ handed over gifts he had brought from his travels, rubies and other princely gems, coins and jewel-studded crowns. I mean, Shāh-nāmeh doesn't have enough heads to wear everything he's been gifted. Like, at this point, he should be a hydra or something to wear all the crowns and earrings and necklaces, but you know. The Book of Kings. And also silks, horses with saddles of leopard skin and gold-worked bridles. And to Farigiz, he gave a diadem and earrings and a necklace and a gem-encrusted toque. So basically, Pirañ is like a grandpa showering his grandkids with presents and love. We condone this attitude. Yeah, good for you, Pirañ. I mean, yeah, why not? After leaving Shāh-nāmeh Gerd, Pirañ returned to his own land of Khotan. Entering his women's quarters, he said to his wife Gulshahar, "Whoever has not set eyes on paradise should travel where I have been, to see the angel Soroush enthroned in splendor. Go for a while and refresh your soul with the sight of Shāh-nāmeh's city." Okay, ding 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 ding, the Zoroastrian bell is chiming. Who is this angel Soroush and why should you care about him? Alright, but allow me to digress for a while. Soroush is the assimilation of a personality that was quite relevant in Mazdaism, Zoroastrianism, and his name was Sorosh, or Sraosha, depending on how you transliterate the name. So Sraosha or Sorosh, I like Sorosh, that's my favorite name. He was a Yazata representing obedience, and he was quite a powerful one. He was among the only Yazatas to be able to go out at night when the Daeva, the servants of Angra-Mainyu, the evil/dark spirit, were, roaming the earth. So what is a Yazata? A Yazata is an Iranian minor deity, a Zoroastrian minor deity, whose name means worthy of being praised, worthy of being adored. So you can see why am I being insistent on this? Because I want you to think to what extent Sorosh, or Soroush in this case, was of importance and relevance for the context, for the folklore, for the culture that Ferdowsi held, to put him here as an incarnation of an angel. That is something that, I'm looking for the word, syncretism, that is something that often occurs with religious syncretism. The powerful figures would be assimilated into one of the cults and become something new. Soroush is a new creation after the conception of angels in Islam on the one hand, and then what remained of Sraosha or Sorosh from the Zoroastrian heritage. Sorosh is among the most interesting Yazatas ever, and he was accompanied by a white rooster. And I'm not gonna give you the full explanation, but he is someone super important. And I like that in here, the one being compared to Sorosh is none other than Shāh-nāmeh. And he's an angel. Like, in this setting, in this world building, Shāh-nāmeh is being compared to an angel. A very important one, if I might say so myself. So, I love when this thing happens. Is Sorosh also an angel in Islam, or is it Ferdowsi's poetic license? That's the thing. Outside Iran, Sorosh is little to not known at all. He doesn't exist. People don't understand who he is. He didn't make it. Oh my god, the light. He didn't make it to the list of angels in cosmologies or Lives of the Prophets. No, I mean, you know your generics, you know your regular angels. But Sorosh, it's such an Iranian-based phenomenon that I had to bring it up, because he is a Yazata that became an angel. Same way the Paris Because they attempted to make them angels, but then they were not. They were nasty. The parties were the worst. Always the worst. I know, right? The mixture, the combination, the results it gives us. But to hell with anyone that tells you about purity in religion, history, art history. To hell with people's purity. Such thing as purity does not exist, and it is extremely harmful. Syncretism, mixture, that is where we thrive as culturally, socially, everything. I am a big defender of that, and that's why when someone asks me, what is it truly Iranian? What is it purely Achaemenid? You don't want me to start. Like, you don't know. What is it truly Persian? What? Can we talk about the word Persian itself? What is even Persian? This is truly Persian, is it though? I'm allowed to digress. Like, I know. No. Exactly, Pichu. There is no evolution without mixing. I like what Uoluka said. You don't get promoted to being a cross of a character unless there is something appealing about you. Oh, I love it. I couldn't have expressed this in a better way. Thank you for that. So where were we? Oh yeah. So basically, Piran is sending his wife on holiday to Seavash because he's so fascinated by the city that he goes home and says to his babe, you have to see this. Like, it's incredible. I loved it. You're gonna love it there. How sweet is this, by the way? Positive relationships are not that commonly presented, and I like this. You know, it's just a detail, but it brings me joy. See, this is a healthy relationship. Babe, I've been in this place. It's incredible. Love, you're gonna have the best time. Go there. I mean, couple goals. Yes. Then Piran, quick as a skiff that cleaves the waves, he travelled on to Afrasiab. He listed the countries he had visited and the tribute he had lived, then mentioned Seavash, saying all he had seen and answering all of the king's questions. Heaven's glories, he says, do not equal that city, nor is the sun more splendid than Seavash. I saw a city unparalleled in all Iran and China. Wisdom and that princess soul have combined to make a paradise of gardens, public places, and flowing streams. From a distance, Farigisi's palace glitters like a vast jewel. Men revile the world, but you have no cause for complaint now. If Soroush himself were to descend from the blue heavens, he would not be possessed of such magnificence, glory, and wisdom as is your son-in-law. And our two countries rest from war, returning to life like a man who has lain unconscious and revives again. The king was happy to hear these words, believing that the tree of his good fortune had borne fruit. He told Garzibaz that he had heard what he had heard, and said, Garzibaz, go visit Seavash and see what kind of place it is. Seavash has given his heart to Turan and forgotten Iran. He's renounced his crown and throne and said farewell to Kai Kavus, Gudars, and Bahram. In the thorn breaks here, he has created a city. He has built Farigi's tall palaces and treats her with honor and respect. But let's not forget that Farigi is Afrasiab's daughter. All the love and respect that Seavash is presenting her with, it's paying off because, again, Seavash is a pan de Dios. He's the best person ever. How wouldn't he? When you see him, Afrasiab continues, speak kindly to him and act with suitable deference. Whether or out hunting, seated at a court in his Iranian entourage, or drinking and feasting. Take him abundant present, whatever you can lay your hands on in your treasury, and give Varigis, my daughter, presents to, and congratulate her on her good fortune. If your host welcomes you with smiles, stay in his pleasant city for 2 weeks. And, but Shah, now that the sun's still shining, where is my bookmark? Have I lost it? Now that the sun's still shining, you know what? I think it's a good place to stop for today. Okay, I don't have my... Where's my bookmark? What? Hold on. I dropped it. Yeah, here we have it. Alright, so I think that we can stop here for the session. But thank you so much for accompanying me in this. Okay, so this has not been nice. It never is. Yet, we've seen some positive things, apart from Servage predicting his own... I was going to say death again. He doesn't predict his own death. He predicts his own murder. And, you know, saying how things are going to take a very dark turn soon-ish. But thank you for choosing, Las Plumas, thank you for choosing this mountain to spend your evening at. It's been my biggest pleasure. And I'm sorry I don't give you like more cheerful, uplifting storytelling. Boy, this is what we come for. This is what we have. Shāh-nāmeh, thank you, Arash. I will not Shāh-nāmeh Bosham, yeah. Shāh-nāmeh Bosham. To say that to myself. But Bacha, thank you so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed the reading, and if you do so, do recommend this to a friend. Get a friend into the Book of Kings because you're gonna do them a favor. You know this. I know this. Everyone knows this. I am delighted to be seated here with you, and I need to remind you that in just a couple of days, on Thursday, we will be talking about Susa, the City of Kings, and I am beyond excited. I cannot wait, and I invite you to come here, same time, 6 p.m. UTC +1 time, to talk about the Achaemenid capital of Darius the First. Incredible. If you're watching this like in 3 months, that's already on YouTube. You can find it somewhere in the, the channel, whatever you're seeing this. We should be canny with promoting a Crusader King stream. Says Uloko, that may draw a big audience. You know what? I don't know if I want a big audience though, but I understand. I understand. You have a point. We could do something. Although I'm not one of big numbers, like ever. Never have. I'm okay with that. It's just, I'm happy to be with you here, honestly. I'd rather have 3 people that really want to listen to what I say than 300 that I just hear, in bulk to make it look like I have an audience that doesn't really exist. And we should play together. I would be delighted to play with you. I don't want to play by myself. Exactly, Pichu, to create the drama, because that is what we live for. And at least in this channel. If you are Abacha, you live for the drama. And that is the gospel truth. Bacha, thank you so much. Again, thank you to my patrons for being, in the back of it and allowing this to happen. Thank you for their support always. What is that? The drawback is that it will probably draw a bunch of gamer bros who are into incest and murder. Good lord! Is it though? Is that okay? Okay, then. Alright, I might need to give it 1, 2, 3 thoughts then, because I don't want... Okay, I need to think about it. I would love to play this Love Nature. There's a whole Iranian expansion now, so yes. Yeah, we can discuss this. Allow me to create like a thread on Discord so we can talk about that. If you're listening, you want to join Discord, do it. It's for free. You can access the place anytime. And Bacha, allow me to say goodbye to you, at least for now. I will see you. Salam, Serapis. Don't worry, it's fine. You know how to listen to these things. But it's always great seeing you. Bacha, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for all the support, always. I love it. I love our little community. I'm in love with all my chat, and I hug you in the head strongly, tightly, but not deadly, because I am a professional head hugger. I know how to give proper head hugs without hurting a person. It is a skill. You shall develop it sometime. Maybe not, but it's, it's something to develop. Until we do not forget, sorry, I was distracted by Peter's take. Okay, so first I'm going to read Peter's, and then I will proceed with my goodbye as regularly. Peter says, create, explore, and be aware of who you marry with if you are exiled. And to that I might add, don't forget to create, to explore, and to have tons of fun. Until we see each other next time, I bid you now, Khodafis.